All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks all for joining us for today's webinar.
Hi
Um,
guys, hello.
hey, hey, everyone. So I hope you're all seated, you're all relaxed and ready to learn about using email marketing for e-commerce. Today's topic is how to do it better, how to improve your email marketing, get the most out of it for the Black Friday campaigns, but not only. So everything that we'll be covering today will be useful for you throughout the entire year, whether you're just using, email marketing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaigns, or anything else throughout the entire year. So before we begin the presentation, let me just introduce myself. My name is Michael. I'm the head of content marketing and partnerships here at GetResponse, and I'm together with Eric, who's the customer content lead here also at GetResponse. And we've been doing email marketing for actually close to 10 years. So we've got actually quite a bit to share with you. We work closely with our customers. So I do think we'll be able to share some nice stories with you, some cool examples as well. The plan for the webinar is that everything will wrap up in 60 minutes. We've got 1 hour to go over everything that we prepared for you today. And, preparing ahead for your question, everything is recorded. So in case something's happening, in case you're not hearing us well, by the way, feel free to confirm that you can hear and see us well on the chat. We'll send you the recording shortly. We should be able to do it tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Daniela, thanks for confirming. Hey, Bennett. So can you ask questions? Definitely, you can ask questions. Feel free to use that chat that you're already eagerly using. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So we'll also try to answer all your questions at the end of the presentation, just in case, there are too many questions or you have a follow-up question that you weren't thinking of at the time of this webinar. Feel free to reply to one of our emails, especially the webinar recording email, and we'll be happy to follow up with you later on. Before we go to the main part of this presentation, I have a short survey that I'd like to run by you. So the question is simple. What e-commerce platform you're currently using? What is your store built on? And there is an answer for those that don't have a store yet, but I would like to really learn more about what e-commerce platforms you're using, what are the platforms that are most popular among you folks, because we are obviously, as a GetResponse team and the marketing team, we're working on educational content, but also product development projects that help us integrate better with e-commerce platforms. I see some answers already. We've got Shopify folks, we've got Magento, WooCommerce, PrestaShop. WooCommerce is probably the most popular one at this moment. We've got cart.com. Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot for that. So for those of you that already know, we do have a very good integration with Shopify, Magento, PrestaShop, and we'll be soon updating our WooCommerce integration as well, which is already working, but it will be even better. So stay tuned for that. All right, folks. I think we've got most of the answers. I appreciate your answers. And let's get to it. So you can see the results now, by the way. And let's get back to the presentation, shall we? So today's topic is 5 tips for better email marketing in your e-commerce store. We have really cool stuff for you prepared, really good examples. And I'm just passing on the microphone to Eric, who'll start this presentation for you.
Yeah, thanks, Michał. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So this is a pleasure because, we have so many cool examples to share with you today and so many insights that, it's going to be really interesting, I hope. So for starters, we wanted to share a few results from survey run by HubSpot because it actually answers two very, very important questions. First of all, is like what makes consumers subscribe? So obviously discounts, and especially in e-commerce, I think that this is huge, obviously, but also announcements, news, educational content. And I hope that today we will inspire you with the examples that we have provided, because there is so much interesting content to put in your email marketing program. and actually this content makes it so effective. So just we wanted to make sure that we also like mention, the key reasons why consumers subscribe. So definitely educational content is on the list, and it's truly important. And then promotions, right? But also the other question is like, what makes consumers unsubscribe? And I think that we should also like think about it. So first of all, it's like too many emails. So we are going to talk about segmentation, personalization, and then this system where you will send the right message to the right people, and you won't send irrelevant messages. So these two are both side of the same coin, I would say. Spammy content, right? So content that nobody is interested in. Maybe not nobody, but actually, this particular persona or this particular customer. So definitely this is something to pay attention to. And then we have irrelevant promotions, right? So just imagine a person who has just bought a product for like, and this person might be truly satisfied with the product. And then suddenly they receive this promo email that now, if they had just waited maybe one day more, they could have bought it for, I don't know, half the price. So then this promo actually changes, right? And suddenly it's not the kind of email you wish you got. So later on, we are going to talk about personalization and making sure that you send out the right messages. But I think that, the first thing that we wanted to cover is actually the two types of emails you should be sending, definitely. And, these are like relationship building emails and sales emails. So like sales oriented, also sales driven. And here I have this brand that I truly admire. I really admire their email marketing program. The brand is called American Giant. This is fashion e-commerce from the US. And I really like them, or actually I really like their email marketing program, because it's not only about this like, basic e-commerce CTA, like buy now, but it's also about like why should you buy, why what is the USP, how do we differ from competitors, why is it a good idea to buy from us, what is our brand about, who are our customers. So I have selected quite a few emails, and let me start with an email actually presenting a customer who is using a product. So in this case, it's going to be like, the particular type of trousers. But as you can see, this content is actually created together with a happy customer. So they actually present a real person doing like a real business, and, sharing their their philosophy, their business, their ideas. But also like, they mentioned that this product is helping this person, right? So as you can see, there is this call to action where you can shop the product, but you have so much content about actually, real people using the product. So this is one of the cool tip for like, one of the cool tips for relationship building emails. So like, stay in touch with your customers, reach out to your customers, and then make sure that you can actually present real people using your product or services. So definitely it's going to be interesting for quite a lot of people who are like, dealing with similar challenges, similar problems. So I would recommend definitely like building relationships with your audience and with your customers, and then like, using the content that you create together with your customers to build relationship with your audience, or like, your email audience. Here we have a similar situation. So there is like a customer who is also like running his own business. And then there is this interesting idea for a collaboration. So, you can also like collaborate with your customers and then offer some interesting relationship building campaigns, right? So here actually you can win $200 if you take part in this particular promotion, particular action. But as you can see, it's like, based on a real life scenario, and it's built on a partnership with a real customer. So it's a win-win, because I can imagine that also, like, this is when it comes to promotion, so two brands are engaged, so you can also, like, make sure that you will be visible among many more customers. Then something very important, and I think that, in the fashion industry, it's still like, it's not a standard, because very often you can see the product, and this is it has been a standard that those fashion e-commerce brands, they usually have great photos, great looking photos, so actually that the products looks great. But still, not every brand goes deeper into the specifics of the product. So, for a person like myself, I really appreciate when the brand actually explains why this pair of trousers is, like, better than the other, or like why is it so, like, unique. So here, as you can see, you have this product email, but it's also, like, about building relationships, because basically myself, or like, like customers, they suddenly, like, realize the reasons, like, okay, now I understand the difference between your product or your service and your competitors. So when I'm, like, comparing, because maybe right now I'm thinking about, like, buying a product, and I have like 3 brands in mind. So if you actually share specifics, if you make sure that your subscribers understand the difference between your product and competitors, and they understand all the benefits from you using your product, or, like, all the unique selling points, it's going to be so much easier to buy the right product, to make the right decision. And also, like, something very similar, this one is with a hoodie, right? So as you can see, this email explains that, introduces a particular product, and also, like, compares 2 different versions of the same product. So we have original fit and relaxed fit. So very often, if you just, like, stick to the jargon only, so maybe there are some people who realize the difference or can imagine the difference, but it's better to show it. Yeah, it's just better to make sure that you actually know everything you should in order to make the right decision. And when we were discussing it today with Michał, you actually said that the better you know the product, so then actually it's like, the bigger the chance that you will buy exactly what you are looking for. So then actually you reduce the risk of returning the product, right? So actually, from the business perspective, this is very important, because you save time, you save money, and you make sure that your subscribers or your customers, they feel safe, right? Because they know that their information needs have been met. They know exactly what they need to know in order to make the right decision about purchase. So yeah, and also, like, this third part here on the right, as you can see, you have this, like, cross-channel, multi-channel situation here, where actually you can invite your audience, your online audience, to visit your physical location, to also, like, go to the shop, because I believe that for some people it's going to be enough if they actually see the specifics. If they see this comparison between the product, they can just go online and order it. But perhaps there is a segment of your contacts who would rather visit the physical location. They would rather, like, put on the hoodie and just, like, check it out, right? It's like, is the color good? Is it comfortable? So on and so forth. So just remember that it's also a good idea to make sure that people understand that you have physical locations as well. And you could also, like, segment them and make sure that you can invite them for special events or promos offline. And then also, like, very important thing, so just, like, make sure that people understand your brand better. So perhaps you have values that are, like, really meaningful from the, like, maybe there is, like, a deeper reason why you actually run a business. Maybe it's not only about the money, and maybe it's for a cause. So also, like, make sure that you emphasize that people actually understand that your brand is not only about revenue, but it's also about the values that you cherish. So here I also wanted to show you a few examples of just like, emails that actually come without this typical e-commerce call to action, like buy now, but it doesn't mean that these emails are not important. They are definitely important, because then people realize that, okay, this brand is like based on certain values, and if these values, if I share these values, definitely, I will be more likely to become a customer of this particular brand. And another example from another company that I've been a fan for years right now. This is called Uncommon Goods, and this is also e-commerce, but this is like truly unique e-commerce because they offer products created by some, local artists, creators, and definitely, everything on the website is truly unique and surprising sometimes. But here, when it comes to the email marketing program, you can see that it's more or less based on the same template. And here I've chosen 4 sales-oriented emails. But still, as you can see, it just like provides different types of contexts, because very often we just limit ourselves. So when we think like, okay, I need this like sales email right now, I need to just like incentivize people to buy. And it turns out very, very straightforward and very like it's not unique. It's something that basically you have a product, like a photo, like a short description, and then boom, this call to action, like buy now. But here, just take a look at the headers. And for example, the first goes like, they're back, but selling out as you read this. So here, the emphasis is on, this fear of missing out. So actually, you want to make sure that all these products are limited. So it's actually a good idea to just mention it, to tell people that, well, if you like it, Black Friday is coming, Halloween is coming, or just like, any other just occasions. So perhaps, the product that you would like to buy will not be available in the future. So I think that it's a good idea to use it as a message and then incentivize or like prompt people to buy whenever they are ready. And then the next one goes like 10 holiday gifts you can only get here. So perhaps you have some, products or services that are truly unique, and it's like, nobody else is just offering that, because it's only available at your store. So it's also like, good to try out this context for purchase. Then we have like, what if your holiday gifts were made right here? So this email actually emphasizes all the products that were locally made in the US. So, I can imagine that there is a segment of the audience that will find it interesting, and they would like to support it. So here you can also like, make sure that people understand that you produce, manufacture, or sell locally. And the third one is like, we know what today is. And the thing is that this email was sent on Halloween, but it's not like a traditional spooky email, but it's actually, using the Halloween to make sure that people understand that, Christmas is coming. So perhaps, you could use this Halloween time to choose the right gifts for your family in December. So you still have 2 months. So now this is the perfect time actually to browse through different categories and, select all the products that you would like to buy as gifts for your family or friends. So if you want to be successful with that, it's better to just, find a sort of like a balance between the relationship building emails and the sales oriented emails. And we've seen it with many customers that actually this is the way to go. So if you balance it right, you will see that, you will see this consistent open rate, because people will not be tired with sales driven emails only, but they will also like, understand your brand more. They will learn about the philosophy behind your products and services. So when it comes to the first tip that we wanted to share with you today, it's definitely like finding the balance between relationship building emails and sales oriented emails. And now back to you, Michał.
Yeah, let me jump back to this for a second. So, and I want to be mindful of time, so we have to jump to the next topic in a second. But one thing to remember here is that you should be thinking of your email campaigns as campaigns, not as individual messages. So sometimes there will be times where you will have, the slower season. You will not know what to do. This is a perfect moment to send out a mix of messages, relationship building messages, and some sales oriented messages. But in times like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you are okay to send out several messages in a short amount of time, because people already, they know exactly that big deals are coming up and that they should be expecting more messages. And when you're looking at the results, also consider that you are thinking of an entire campaign. It doesn't matter if someone doesn't open your first message, if they got the third email and they responded to it. So do think of these things, in tandem. So don't separate, and then just think about the metrics per single message. But the second tip I want to give you today, out of the 5 that we want to go over, is to personalize and segment your communication. And I know that this is a standard thing that marketers say, but hear me out. So we looked at the recent study from Nielsen, from McKinsey here, and what's interesting is that even though, especially in Europe, GDPR and all the legal things are changing how we deal with personalization, we seem more suspicious about sharing our data. In fact, the latest data shows that people expect personalization. They want brands to personalize the communication and treat them as individuals rather than as a whole group, as a whole list of folks. Interestingly, they are also frustrated when they don't find personalization. um, Looking at the same report, the same study, you can see, and by the way, I highly recommend that study. You can see what kinds of personalization they're looking for in the communication when chatting with brands. So they want to make sure that the navigation is easy, that they get relevant recommendations, tailored messages, etc. It's interesting to see that naming someone, sending an email that says hi first name isn't at the top, because we really, that doesn't give much value. When we talk about personalization, we really want personalized offers, personalized message, not just having our name out there. Everyone can do it these days. Another thing to keep in mind is that personalization does work in our favor. The same study found that folks that do experience personalization, they are more likely to recommend the brand to other folks, to their friends, to their family. They're more likely to purchase from that brand and repurchase from that brand as well. So there are many benefits of personalization. And one additional thing from that study showed that brands that are digitally native, so they're working directly with consumers, and they have been using online marketing the whole time, their entire business is online, they are usually the ones that personalize the most, and they're the ones that see most value out of personalization. That isn't to say that if you're a brick and mortar business, that you shouldn't be personalizing. That's the opposite. The more you personalize, the more likely you're going to see a good return from personalization. So what kind of personalization we're looking at? One, from that data, the number one thing I gather is that people expect recommendations inside the communication that they see. And they're not, no one is to blame. You check out your emails, you check out your websites, you go to Netflix, you want personalized content because you don't want to spend time analyzing what's out there for them. If you don't find something interesting, you just skip and move on to another thing. So here are 3 examples of brands that actually personalize the content. You see Audible from Apple. You can see recommendations based on my listening, on my books that I've listened to over the course of my subscription. You see Domestika, so they looked at the courses that I have signed up for, or my colleagues signed up for, and you can see recommendations on the stuff that you should be joining. And the last one is AliExpress. I bought a wristband, so they're recommending stuff for me that is relevant to my purchase, to whatever I've been doing on their site. interestingly, we've been doing recommendations with our customers for quite a while now. We're adding new features there as well, and from the data that we can see, 20 to 70% of clicks in recommendations actually lead to a purchase. They end up in a purchase. And also, the once folks add recommendations inside their communication, that is emails, that is website, they see 10 to 29% of their entire transactions coming from recommendations. So this is something that, by the way, for those that are using GetResponse or not using GetResponse, just FYI, uh, adding in recommendations is super easy. Once you've integrated your store, which is really doesn't take a lot of time, you can use recommendations inside the email creator. We have 9 recommendation systems, so you can send recommended for you, bestsellers in a given category. You can see, you can promote products that others have purchased or looked at. So you can use this in many ways. And honestly, adding that single block doesn't take much time at all. And on top of that, we've also started launching, we're going to be talking about this probably a bit more in the future, is that we started launching recommendations on websites as well. So for bigger stores, especially for those on their GetResponse Max plan, you can also use AI recommendations inside the emails and on your website as well. That data is then combined, so we will be able to deliver more recommendations throughout the communication. Now, onto another thing, segmentation. If you don't want to go into AI recommendations, that seems to be too complex, which it isn't. You can start, and I definitely recommend starting with segmentation. The benefits are easy, and attainable. The higher customer satisfaction, and that's what you see from the previous data I shared. You have higher engagement, customer loyalty that leads to longer duration and higher customer lifetime value, and higher return on the investment in communication. And this is an example of a simple segmentation and personalization, really, from our customer. One of our customers that sends out pretty much the same email, just to different folks. So in e-commerce, especially in fashion e-commerce, are quite typical to tailor your communication by the gender or by the audience type or the topics that they're interested in. So you can see how easy it is to implement. And if you're just getting started with segmentation, the typical way to segment your audience is to use demographic data. For example, the income level, education level. You can use geolocation. That is, especially if you're in the US, you can target people by specific zip code, by specific city. Psychographic, people that believe in a specific cause or share similar traits. You have behavior inside your email communication, or even on your website. Someone visits your product category page. Why not just use that to add them a tag or add them a scoring point inside GetResponse to tailor the communication and to launch communication to them. And you can use RFM, a recency frequency monetary model. I highly recommend checking that out. So that helps you identify the top customers that are spending the most with you, buying the most frequently from you, and they have the biggest value for your business. Check out that on Google. That seems challenging to do, but honestly isn't. And it's going to show you the share, for example, of customers that only, for example, purchased only once, and how many you have folks that have purchased from you multiple times. So some examples of segmentation that you could be using. This is something that we're going to be sharing on our resources soon in the form of an infographic. So we're going to send it out to you later on if you're interested. But you can, for example, divide your audience into VIP contacts, so that people with highest customer lifetime value, those who buy regularly, they've bought recently, and that just overall their value is big. You have, and we are going, down from there. So we have potential VIP contacts. They have high customer lifetime value, but they don't buy as often. And then we have fans of the brands, potential fans of the brands, etc. You can check out that later once you get the recording. But what I want to point you to here is the fact that the top customers, the 20%, are your usually in the Pareto rule. These are the folks that you want to focus on most. And as you go down, you spend fewer time on the folks that don't deliver as much value, and then you only have like 20% of the time for the people that stopped engaging with your content. They fallen out of your communication. They're no longer buying from you, and you should be really reactivating them. So how can you segment your audience if you don't have the data just yet? In email communication, you can easily do that just by providing multiple CTAs that are tailored to your customer personas. For example, you can, with Uncommon Goods, you have example here. You have a CTA for gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for teens, etc. As you go down through the email, it has even more CTAs. This is, in my opinion, even better than asking your folks what gender they are, because honestly, that doesn't matter. If I'm in a jewelry store and I'm buying a gift for someone else, it doesn't matter if I'm a man or a woman. So you can actually start with little data that you have, someone's email address, someone's maybe zip code if they bought something from you, and then you can keep learning about them as you send more emails. You can offer them different offers, categories. Just even consider the third email that you can see here from H&M. Those little CTA buttons, they seem like tags as labels, and they should be treated as that, because if someone clicks on that, you could easily launch an email communication based on that tag, or just add that to their customer profile so you know them better in the future. Now, moving on to the third point, capture lost sales. And that's one of the biggest, I would say, the lowest hanging fruit for e-commerce marketers, and also the biggest hurdle. You have about 69% these days of carts are being abandoned. So what can you do? Obviously, the typical scenario is someone enters the shop, adds a product to their cart, you send out an email. They leave the store and you send them an email. Here's an example of American Giant again, how they did it a couple of years back. This is a simple reminder you can send them to try to capture the lost sales with an automated email. It's super easy to set up. You can do that as well. So that's the minimum you should be doing these days. Now, what's interesting here, for example, is that they actually sent out 3 emails, and the email itself doesn't seem to be all that personalized, but they changed the headers in those emails. So the first email is highlighting, hey, your new favorite is still available. The second email that is sent, I think 24 hours later, is actually talking about our lifetime warranty. So it's highlighting the unique selling proposition that you have here. So something that makes it unique. I don't know, lifetime warranty, free returns worldwide, or maybe 24/7 chat support so you can ask your questions, or it could be something else. Or maybe how good quality your products are. And the third email is just a reminder you left something behind. So I want to share an example of a schedule one of our customers did a couple of years back. They actually created a 6 email abandoned cart email series. I don't recommend this approach. I think it's a bit too extreme, but it worked for them. So I just want to be mindful of that. So they actually sent 6 emails within 3 days, which is quite a lot if you ask me. But they did send that, and they as you can see, the content type within those emails is these are free reminders, then only a discount, then a content, so like how to use the product better or more details about the product, how it's built, and a discount. And then you have the discount again in the 6th email. And all of that actually added up to 25% sales rate. So 25% of all the folks that have gone through this process have finished with a sale. So that's really, really good result. But there are a few other ways you can optimize your abandoned cart email series or communication series in general, because it doesn't have to be just with emails, right? So the number one tip I have is more compelling copy. And that sounds ridiculously simple, but that's something that we've done recently with one of our customers. So they send out a simple email reminder, hey, heads up, you left something in your cart. I mean, that's interesting enough for me to check it out, but it wasn't for the majority of their email audience. Most folks, they just, open their email. Actually, the open rate was below average because it wasn't giving any sense of urgency, didn't provide much value. It just said, heads up, you left something. What's in it for me? So instead, what we did actually, we recommended, hey, do a simple A/B test on your subject line, 5 minutes of work. The same email, the same content, just a different subject line. And they managed to change the copy to something like, don't miss out. We've saved these items for you for the next 24 hours, or something like this, along those lines. So we focus on the fact that you don't want to miss out on that. the FOMO effect here, and that actually generated twice the amount of conversions and almost twice the amount of opens. So it's interesting to see that a simple 5-minute optimization improved that, and you can do that within the email itself. So you can add testimonials and reviews for your entire store or the products. You can add recommendations of other products that someone might be interested in, and you can of course add discounts, which I don't recommend right away, or maybe for your existing customers, maybe only for a segment of your those folks that only are buying for the first time, which you can also do with an automation sequence, easily filter out one message to people that have previously bought and another message to people who haven't previously bought. And one last example in this topic. So one of our customers as well did some really cool optimization in their abandoned cart flow. So they first sent out an email, just showed the product and said a reminder, sent out a reminder about those products. But then they decided to actually add the reviews of those products so that people could see that these products are good. And that has increased the conversion rates from 3.8 to 7.69%. Then at the second stage, they decided to add also a discount code along with those reviews, and that improved the email further to 9% conversion rate, which is a really good result. It's more technical to set up, but definitely I would recommend doing that if you already are sending out emails or an abundant cart flow to your audience. Alrighty, we've got the fourth point now, so I'm gonna just pass on now that microphone to Irek.
Yeah, thanks, Michał. So the fourth one is about building loyalty. And here I would say that, start thinking about your email marketing list as a sort of like a VIP program, because I've seen brands who have, for example, because this webinar is also like, touching on the Black Friday because it's coming. So I've seen brands that actually allow people on the contact list just browse or like just access Black Friday campaigns a little bit sooner. So actually for all those who are signed up for the newsletter, there is this opportunity actually to browse through the products and services when they are still available, and just like do basically this pre-Black Friday campaign here, right? So definitely I would say that, think about your email marketing program and your contact list as a VIP list. But when it comes to building loyalty, I would say that it's just, the sooner the better. So actually think about it like, think about the welcome series even. Here I have an example from one of our Polish customers. This is also e-commerce, and they offer artisanal coffee beans. So actually this is freshly roasted coffee. And the owner of the business, he realized after talking to his customers that actually there is like one difference, that people who are his customers or become his customers are basically aware of the product. They know the difference between his coffee or like the product that he offers and the product that you can buy just everywhere, like in a supermarket or whatever. So he made sure that he created this automated email series for new subscribers. And the cool thing is that the first email is basically explaining the idea behind the brand. This is a cool story because the brand is called landcafe.pl. So land comes from Land Rover because he likes to travel the world in his Land Rover, and he likes coffee, right? So hence the name Land Cafe. So that's really cool. But then you have this 5 emails, like this is this educational series. And remember that one of the reasons why actually customers sign up for the newsletter is actually because the educational content, right? Because if you still are not aware of like what you should buy, if you are not aware of the differences between products, then even like such a simple, only like 5 email long series might be an excellent answers to your needs. So here, as you can see, there is an email with like a map, and this email briefly explains the differences between coffee beans from like North America, South America, Africa, Asia, right? So because you can expect really like huge differences sometimes. Then you have the difference between single beans and blends. Then you have a difference between this particular coffee offered by Land Cafe and like a coffee you could just like buy in a 7-Eleven, right? So actually, this is great because it proved to be effective. So here I have just one simple question right now. If you could use the chat and please type in the conversion. What do you think? How many % of people who receive these emails purchased during this sequence, this educational sequence of those first 5 emails? Just like if you could just think about like conversion. Boom, we have 15% from Mr. Julian. Yeah, it's high conversion, but you can easily aim higher. Okay, we have 30 from Bennett. Bennett, you were the closest. It's 30%, but still we should aim higher. Okay, Daniela, 60%. So it's unfortunately a bit lower than that. Thank you so much for your answers. You were like, pretty close, but actually it turns out that it's 41% conversion from the educational emails alone. And then as you can see, like the last one in the series is this discount coupon email. And this discount coupon email resulted in 13% conversion. So altogether, in total, this sequence that I think that it was like across 2 weeks. It was sent, every second day. So like the total conversion was 54%, and it's 40 something plus 13% from the discount coupon email. So as you can see, it is really effective. So, and it's also quite easy to just like to plan, because if you use tools like that offer you those marketing automation workflows, so you can easily like set up a particular scenario where actually you use those like conditions, actions, and filters, and you can just make sure that create this great content that offers your subscribers education, offers like key insights and this like key information. And you can also like add tags. So as Michał discussed, segmentation, so you can be also sure that whenever people like are interested in coffee, you can assign them tag coffee. If they're interested in tea, you will assign a tag tea automatically based on their behavior, based on the segment of email they click. So yeah, and then just make sure that you build your loyalty forward. So actually your customers, you can select, or actually you know that the who is a subscriber and who is a customer, and then make sure that you build some sort of like incentive, or like you incentivize purchase, so that basically it makes sense to stay with your business, to actually staying with you and just buying regularly. So here we have another, let's say, automated loyalty program. So as you can see, those workflows are not that difficult, because I'm pretty sure that every one of you can basically just like think about, okay, what are the key incentives for me? How should I actually what can I offer people who have purchased like some time ago? And then based on your plan, based on your idea, but you can easily like use the drag and drop editor and create automated workflows like that. And then you can be sure that your messages are being sent regularly at the right pace to the right people at the right time. And also this very important thing that actually results in great content is actually like staying in touch with your customers, also like collecting feedback, collecting insights. So especially in e-commerce, when you have so many factors like that basically contribute to the whole experience, you need to make sure that you actually understand what is great, what could be improved, what are the bottlenecks, what are the areas to optimize. So here we have like a short like a survey. You have like 5 points where you actually can basically pretty simply just say, okay, are you satisfied with the purchase or with the service or not, right? And then you can easily collect this information, also translate it into tags, and then you can make sure that you segment people. You can create segments for, let's say, people who have been truly satisfied with your service, and also you have a segment of people who actually might give you some useful feedback on like, okay, what to improve, what should be improved, Was it about the delivery? Was it about the product itself? Was it about the online experience? So yeah, just make sure that you stay in touch with your customers. And here there is also an interesting example. You could even create a very simple email template like this one, when you have basically this 3 different expressions, and you could basically use different links. So for example, those people who are satisfied and are willing to click the happy smile, these people could be actually directed to a page where they could leave a comment, review, and actually provide you with this positive feedback, right? And then whenever somebody is not satisfied, then you could just direct them to a chat where they could actually schedule a call, or just talk to someone right away and basically explain what the problem was. So actually, in this way, you could also make sure that you react as soon as possible. And you can also first of all, use this feedback, because this is the most useful tool to improve. And then you could actually act quickly and hopefully turn this dissatisfied customer into a satisfied one, and even the promoter of your brand. So yeah. And the next one,
Yeah.
it's connecting the channels. So over to you, Michał.
Yeah, let me add on to that, the collecting those reviews. Be sure to think of that step as not only, fixing the leaking funnel and learning more about your products, about your customers, what they need, but also about generating social proof. So actually building brand advocates. And in that personalization report that I was sharing before from McKinsey, what was interesting was also that one of the personalization that they expect and find positive, customers find positive, is actually a post-purchase communication asking them to leave a review. So they feel like, oh, that brand thinks about and minds about my opinion. They respect my opinion, so they want to receive it. So by collecting that, you're not only providing better satisfaction, better engagement for those people that are leaving the review, but you're also building yourself some beautiful organic content or user generated content that can generate you more business in the future. But now on to the fifth step, which is how to connect your marketing channels, or the idea that you should be really connecting the marketing channels. And here what you can see is a simple pop-up that I saw on Exploding Kittens on an e-commerce website that sells online sells card games and online games. What they did is, and it's an interesting technique, is to have a pop-up that has 3 steps. The first step was asking me, I think, do I want to take them up on the offer? So 10% offer. I said yes. The next step was, okay, leave us your email address and region where you're from, so they can provide some additional information, whether they ship even to those places. And once you've actually committed, they've asked a second step, or third step now. They've asked another question. Hey, want to bump this offer to 15%? Then leave your phone number so we can text you with some promotional materials when we're launching any new campaigns. And that is a very interesting technique, and I highly recommend it, especially now we're moving to the zero party data, first party data these days. You want to have as much information about your audience as possible, because you will not be able to rely on third party cookies all that much in the future, and you want to have just data about your customers. Now, a few other ways you can connect your marketing communication across multiple channels. Here's an example from MeUndies. They are highlighting reviews from their customers and social media posts in their email. And these days, user-generated content is generating more engagement because people see themselves in that communication. They see like, oh, these folks are using this brand, I'm using them. I want to learn more about what they find interesting or useful about this product. So you can highlight people from your social media followers in your communication. You can invite them to leave a review, for example, after in the post-purchase communication cycle. First, you can ask them to leave a review, or even in a transactional email, you could ask them, hey, why don't you share on social media how you're using this product, or that you've just bought this product. Another way to do this is, as Eric mentioned, you can link out to chat in your communication, either from a smiley face, quick review, or just have a button like in the middle here. You can see an email that just from Lush Cosmetics. It directly asks you to chat with them right away, because they want to make sure that even before the big campaigns are gonna launch, that you're gonna ask all your questions so you can order on time and you can have the products shipped to you on time. And another way to connect your campaigns is actually to use social media, or video content inside your email. So here, Chizo's Boots from Texas, they are doing an interesting stuff. They're very network or community-based business, and in their email communication, they're sharing videos from the YouTube channel. And on YouTube, they obviously recommend that people follow them on email, so you can interact between or cross communicate in those channels. And on the right here, you can see also a bit of another email that they send out, is that they share the folks that come to their local, to their actually physical store, because they often run events. They share pictures and just information about those events, about those meetups in their email communication as well. So if you're a fan of Jesus Boots or just these kinds of products, you will not only follow them on social media and perhaps learn something new about their product in their YouTube content, but you also will be inclined to come to their physical store and meet up and just have a free beer with them. Some other ways you can do this is, for example, just highlight the fact that you have physical stores and that people can visit you. And for example, on the left, you can see how one brand, I think that was Uncommon Goods as well, so we've got a highlight here, actually recommends that people sign up to their text messages from their email, right? So having access to one channel is cool, but having access to two channels to communicate a big offer, big campaign is even better. So what they do is just have this segment like text, like tiny little emails you won't forget to open. And I definitely agree with that. You don't have to ask that right away in the pop-up form if you don't want to, if that feels too much, but you can do that later on in your email communication. And that actually, in your email workflows, you could tag people that provided more information as your more valuable customers, because they actually perform more actions. And that leads us to another, and I think our final point in this, is that you can actually connect your email communication also with paid ads. And that's something that's coming out in the next few weeks on our site. So we're actually going to be launching Google Audience Match inside GetResponse. So you can actually run search ads and Facebook ads as well from GetResponse. And you can connect your segments, your lists, to your campaigns. And here are a few ways you can do that. So you can, for example, exclude customers who bought something from you recently. So you're not gonna, launch your offer to people that just bought your product, because they will not spend with you again. Why waste budget on that? Or just why talk to them about the discount if they've already bought from you something else? You can exclude customers who open and click in your emails, so you don't spend money on people that already are engaging in your email communication. Or actually the opposite, you can include customers who don't open and click, so you can reactivate them using another channel. You can just target a specific segment. You can find people that didn't buy in X days, or just do a similars or like a lookalike audience to your segment. And last but not least, you can use an observation mode and just run your campaigns as you do normally, and just see if that particular segment responds to your ads differently, so you can later on tailor your communication. And that is, I would say, our final point, and we can go to the Q&A session if we happen to have some questions. Just to highlight for those that haven't used GetResponse, just want to make sure that you know that we do have plenty of e-commerce integrations with Magento, Shopify, PrestaShop, WooCommerce, etc. And most of these integrations, they let you export contacts from your e-commerce platform, products, orders. You can live sync that communication between the tool. You can run automation campaigns, run abandoned cart campaigns, and have that data inside GetResponse as well. You can easily publish pop-ups and web forms. For example, in your Shopify store, you don't need to add any external code. You just toggle on your integration and just choose any page on your Shopify store, and the pop-up will appear there. So last but not least, if you want to learn more, just go check out GetResponse blog. GetResponse/resources as well. That's where we publish most of our content, blog and webinars as well. And if you want to connect, you can use our LinkedIn. Our names aren't all that easy to copy, but feel free to just to do that. And I'm gonna jump to the Q&A session because I saw a couple of questions. So I want to make sure that we are gonna answer some of them for you. So I saw that question before. So here it is. Based on the examples that Eric, I know you were sharing, are whether sales emails should be much less wordy than the relationship building ones. Would you say that is the best practice in most cases? My take is that typically yes. You want to start with the CTA as high as possible in the header section, but that doesn't mean that you cannot have contextual content, text content inside the emails further down. So you want to provide that CTA at the top, but later on you can provide more information about your product, the details of the fabric, details of where it's produced, or details of the reviews of people leaving. But you have to provide this easy way to convert, which is to go to the store and buy the product there. What's your take on that one, Irek?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And this is a great question. I would say that the key is actually to convey information. So, if you could actually do that with a picture and a few words, that would be perhaps better, but still you should A/B test that. And I just wanted to make sure that you all know that actually in GetResponse, you can create A/B testing easily. So you could actually try it out. But I've seen this tendency to actually those sales emails are usually based on the product photo and just really short, sweet and short copy. And on the other hand, those let's say relationship building emails tend to be maybe they tend to have a bit more copy. But still, you should just try it out and A/B test it if possible.
Absolutely. So there's another one that's specific to GetResponse, how to send out a survey and whether you can use that data from a survey to create a list. So to provide you with a quick answer, you can use external tools like Google Forms or Jotform, for example, to run a survey, or even SurveyKit. You can embed that inside of your email or have a link connected to your email. And then once you have those tools integrated, we have direct integrations, for example, with Jotform. You can tag people based on the answers that people provide you within that survey. And within GetResponse, you cannot create a list based on those answers, but you can create, for example, segments based on those answers, or you can create even automated communication based on those answers. So, for example, if someone gets tagged, then send them this or move them to that specific list. So long answer is you have to use an external tool, which we highly recommend. We're going to be running a few webinars with our partners in the future, so we will provide more materials about that as well. Okay, let me see if we have any more questions. There's one question. Does it have to be products, or can it be for hotels and dining out? I'm guessing, Daniela, that was regarding recommendations. So I'm actually I'm quite convinced that this is mostly for online stores, based on the integrations that we have, because the recommendations are based on Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, etc. All those integrations that we have. I don't know specifically how your hotel is set up, but if it is set up via one of those tools, then yes, you can use recommendations. Or we can just provide recommendations based on anything else that you provide us with. If you don't have that information, for example, within your store, then it will have to be fed to us in some other way. Okay, we have a question from Bennett. So how do you put up those questions that in Click Meeting? So you have to switch on the Q&A mode. And once you have the Q&A mode, all the questions that have a question mark will be identified as questions. And if they're not identified as questions, I can mark them. And now, for example, your question will be published now. So that's how we do it. Perfect. I can see that it helped. All right, folks. do we happen to have any other questions? If not, we're gonna just wrap it up because it's 1 hour. We promise it's gonna be under 1 hour. So once again, we appreciate all of you coming here, all your questions, all your feedback. Feel free to reach out to us. We will be sending the recording to you shortly. I think tomorrow, along with some additional content for e-commerce folks that we've already prepared for you, some ebooks, some video content that we've done in the past. And if you want to actually reach out to us, talk to us, we'll be offering some consultations, one-to-one consultations. So feel free to reach out to that email, schedule a consultation, because we would be happy to learn more about your challenges, your how you would like to use, for example, these kinds of campaigns for your business. And we would like to see whether we can help you out with that. And once again, thanks everyone, and have a good rest of your day, the rest of your week, and
Thank
stay.
you. Have a good
Let's stay
one.
connected. Cheers, Eric. Bye.